Ons volgende gas is nogal 'n ietsie wat ek kan aftik nou op my lysie. Die musikant Dan Patlansky kuier vanoggend hier by ons om oor sy nuwe album Shelter of Bones te gesels. Good morning, Dan.
Good morning. Great to be here.
It's actually quite weird to say hi to a world-renowned musician that still lives in Pretoria.
Victoria's home, man. It's home, and I don't think anyone else wants me.
Yeah, it's weird because you always live either in Linden,
Right.
or you're somewhere in the deep south of Johannesburg where it's like real. If you're a musician in South Africa.
You know what? I grew up in Joburg, and I've been living in Pretoria probably past 10 years, plus 10 years, and I absolutely love it. It's like it takes a while for a place to feel like home, but Pretoria is definitely home now. Kids are at school here, settled in. It's fantastic.
Lekker. To each his own, I always say. We're talking about the new album. Later on today, we'll probably go and get into the real nitty-gritty detail of the album. But firstly, obviously on Wikipedia, everyone says this oak is like one of the top 5 rock guitarists on the planet. It's a bit of an event for me to talk to you, and it seems like it never gets right into your ego. You're always a nice guy. You always chat to people. How do you maintain that? Because people must mug you every now and then.
Well, you know what it is in this industry and in the world of guitar playing, if you see what's out there, like the level that is out there, it's a very, very humbling experience discovering these people, So it keeps you on your feet all the time. Because the level, worldwide out there, it's serious, So there's almost no space to be big-headed or anything like that. It's just a case of what's the next step? How do I get better? How do I improve in every aspect of the music? Because it's never competing, but your peers in this are serious. You know what I mean? It's some serious stuff there. So it's not that hard staying humble, if that makes sense. Yeah,
It does.
Well, I think the last time you came here, we actually focused on the pandemic as well.
Yeah.
And I mean, things changed a little bit. So how are things lately?
Well, it's looking up. It really, really is. Obviously the pandemic still, has an effect on things. It's not quite back to what it was, but it's a lot closer than it was, which means I can launch albums, I can tour albums in South Africa and abroad. So it's really, really looking up, and it's just been, it's been a long 2.5 year period, and it's a giant relief that we're heading in the right direction, what seems we're heading in the right direction.
Later on, I would like to refer a little to to Stevie Ray Vaughan and the album. There's a couple of nice links there
Yes.
for those who notice and realize it. But firstly, let's talk about Pink Floyd.
Yes, come on.
I can't believe that there are other people our age, I'm not going to say what the age is, that feel so strongly about Pink Floyd like I do.
Pink Floyd, for me, I remember being a kid and seeing my parents' album collection, vinyl collection. And I didn't know what the music was, but I remember seeing the album covers, because Pink Floyd have these very surreal kind of album covers with weird stuff going on, and it was so intriguing for me as a kid. And I would look at these album covers and I would say, I want to hear what the music sounds like on this. I want to hear if the music matches the album cover or the picture. And when I did, probably at about 12, 13 years old, it was such a journey, and it was the band that got me hooked onto music. I was listening to Pink Floyd before I was listening to the blues, and it was the band that did it. And still to this day, they remain probably my favorite band and are such a big influence still, in my songwriting, in my performance, that I try and sneak in to what I do, because it's quite a different thing that I do, but big Pink Floyd fan.
Lovely. We'll talk about the album when we return, maar eers gaan ons vir 'n advertensiebreek. So as net hierna terugkom, dan praat ons ordentlike musiek. Dan Patlansky is vanoggend hier by ons in ons kuier en gesels oor sy nuwe album Shelter of Bones. Dan, firstly, recording an album like Shelter of Bones, there's 2 levels of revisiting things. There's a lot of revisiting happening in music in general nowadays, but also recording an album in this time, and it gives you almost an opportunity to look at something once, and then in the process in the creative process, come back to it again.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, COVID has done that. I mean, this was originally recorded in 2019 and it was released on Friday, last Friday.
Yes.
That was the process. And normally you've got a month to record the album. You record the album, it goes to mix, and you release it. That's what you have. And on this one, I had that chance to go back and say, are the songs right? Is this right? Can I change this? Can I change that? Which was great. But on the flip side of the coin, it was also very, very difficult because I think if you have too much time to analyze something.
Yes, overcritical of your own creation.
Big time. And it's like opening a can of worms.
Yes.
And then you start hearing things that aren't actually there. You lose perspective of what the album actually is. And so I don't know if I'd ever want to do a 3-year process again on an album. You know, maybe a longer than a month, but it was tough. You second guess yourself a lot.
Yeah. Once again, if you take a look at the album cover, a guitar with lots of character.
Yes.
Do you want to say something a bit more?
Yeah,
elaborate?
so that guitar was, that believe it or not, guitar's only 3 years old, right? But I own an old Fender Stratocaster from 1962 that I've played for years. And it's beat up, it's been through, you know, everything you can imagine, seen the world, most of the paint's gone off it, and that guitar became unplayable, completely unplayable because neck twisted, the whole, long story. Anyway, I got Fender to make me an exact replication of the guitar.
Wow.
Just in a different color, and it took them 3 years to make it. It's a master-built guitar, and I got it in 2019, actually.
I don't think people realize how much goes into a process like that. It's not just your average Strat guitar that got built. It's a bespoke item.
It's very, I had to send, I'm not even kidding, over 100 photographs of the guitar, zoomed in, and they did that exact replica. I had to measure things I didn't even know how to measure. I thought I knew about things about guitar, but apparently I don't. You know?
And a lot of people out there don't realize what the technical data is in a guitar like that. I mean, it's immense.
It's immense. I had to Google half the stuff that was in the in the form I had to fill out. It was crazy, but honestly, it's the best guitar I've ever owned. It was worth the 3-year wait. It really, really was.
Well, a lot of personality to it.
Yeah, big time.
Well, when getting to some of the tracks on the album, is there one that stands out that you can kind of describe as your favorite, or is it difficult?
I mean, it is difficult because they almost feel like your children,
Yes.
you know, like all the tracks. And yeah, you have favorites, but it depends on the mood you're in, you wake up, what you're kind of into. But right now, I'm probably enjoying a song called Lost on the album, which is, you know, a very personal song for me. And, you know, I've been getting fantastic feedback from that song. Because you never know. Like, you put the album out there, you don't know which song's going to resonate with people.
What is it about?
The song is about, so many years ago, my wife fell ill, and we didn't know what was wrong with her. And the doctors couldn't tell us, and it was a very, very trying time, not knowing. Luckily, at the end of the day, it all turned out fine, and it was all hunky-dory at the end of the day. But that process of not knowing, and obviously the person I am, my mind goes to the darkest place possible. You know, you're like, oh, it's terrible, you know? And that's what the song is about, is that kind of period. Yeah, so it's a personal song, but you know, I love the way it came out. It was actually co-written by a good friend of mine who you guys know, Appel. You know, he's one of the greatest songwriters in the country by a country mile, and we wrote that together. And I'm just chuffed the way it came out. Yeah.
While we have that photograph of the album cover on the screen, this is actually quite the way it's been shot. It's a nod to one of the old classics, one of the guys that inspire you.
Yeah, it's definitely that, and I'm glad you noticed that because not everyone does. But it's like kind of a tip of the hat to my biggest influence, which is Steve Ray Vaughan. And he's been my biggest influence, you know, since I was a teenager, and he's still, to this day, my biggest influence guitar playing and, you know, general music vibe. And, you know, it was kind of my little tribute to him, you know, just on the cover. You know? And I just wanted to, you know, pay a bit of homage, I suppose, to the great man.
For those of you out there, vir die van julle wat wonder waaroor ons praat, gaan kyk, Google bietjie Stevie Ray Vaughan, dan kyk jy net na sy albumcovers en sê hulle verstaan wat ons bedoel. And also the hat, né?
Yeah.
What do you call those silver things on the hat?
Conchos.
Concho.
But that hat's actually a Hendrix type style hat.
Oh, another nod.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Lovely, lovely, lovely. Let's talk about the places that you're going to launch this album. I mean, you've got a tour in South Africa that you're busy with now. You started this weekend.
Yeah.
And then there's one you're also doing a tour to the UK.
That's right. And the Netherlands. So it's the first little slice of normality for me. We're starting off in South Africa. We're doing this next week we are doing
Kempton.
Joburg, Kempton Park, Pretoria,
Krugersdorp, Durban, Bloemfontein, Cape Town, Nyland, and Port Elizabeth.
Yeah, that's the South African side, and then off to the UK to tour the album there, and then ending in the Netherlands if I get my visa.
Wow, yeah.
Still on the edge there, yeah. But very, very excited, man. We started in Klerksdorp 2 nights ago, and loving the way the live shows kind of cover, because you never know with new songs, Sometimes they're just album songs. They sound cool in an album and they don't translate live. But luckily these are translating very nicely live.
Right.
Yeah.
And who should listen to this album?
Everyone. No, and I'm not, jokes aside, it's like, I think it's fairly diverse, the album.
Okay.
There's kind of something for everyone on there. There's a lot of melodic kind of ballads. There's a lot of classic blues stuff. There's a lot of blues rock stuff, a little bit more in your face. So I think it's a very nice journey, the whole album, and I really feel there's something for everyone on the album, yeah.
It's been an absolute privilege having you here. Thank you so much. Having one of the best rock guitarists on the planet in our studio, and we are privileged. And it's not your first time here. You're a regular. You're part of the family. So
Hey, well, it's so good to be here. Thank you, guys. Really appreciate it.
thank you for coming through. Nou ja, daar het jy dit, Dan Patlansky in lewende lywe in die Groot Ontbyt Ateljee. Luister gerus na sy nuwe album Shelter of Bones, of as jy dit nie later wil luister nie, kan jy dit binnekort luister, want net hierna gaan hy vir ons 'n stukkie daarvan speel.